Georgia court website briefly publishes and removes documents about Trump's charges. Wow. Let's see what this is about. This is crazy. Fulton County, Georgia court's website briefly posted a document on Monday listing several criminal charges against former U.S. President Trump that appeared related to his attempts to overturn the 2020 election defeat in the state before taking the documents down without explanation. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office said in a statement that no charges had been filed against Trump. Okay, they got a link to the document here. Let me just see how they describe the document. The document, which is dated August 14th, named Trump, citing the case as open, but is no longer available on the court's website. Rutgers was not immediately available to determine why the item was posted or removed. So this could just be a mistake, but I've been predicting Trump was going to get indicted in Georgia. As soon as they start talking, Trump, indictment. I think after, it's like one of those things. After the first one came down, then the second one came down, then the third one came down. It's just easier to make these things pop out. It's like, all right, well, he's already been indicted 3 times. What's the fourth one? What's the fifth one? Which is kind of sick, but you know, it's like, you got to really understand that the sting of this thing isn't really going to be as much because of, you know, the other 3 indictments that he's facing. The Rutgers report that those charges were filed is inaccurate. Beyond that, we cannot comment. So they're saying that the document is inaccurate. A Georgia prosecutor, District Attorney Fannie Willis, has been probing whether Trump and his allies illegally sought to overturn the state's 2020 election results and has been expected to seek an indictment from a grand jury this week. If Trump is charged in Georgia, it will mark the 4th in less than 5 months, and the second to arise from his efforts to overturn his loss to Joe Biden in the 2020 presidential election. Now, 2 things. I don't know if the Fed case is really all that great. I understand Jack Smith, he's indicted Democrats before. Menendez, I think he prosecuted Menendez, Senator Bob Menendez. So, you know, it gives him some credence about the whole, is he just politically motivated? But I don't think that case is as strong. I think the New York case is garbage. And I think this Fed case about, you know, him conspiring to overturn the election when he was president, I think that has a lot of issues to it too. The documents case, it's a little different because I think the documents case has some legs. And I think this one, it all depends because I've listened to those phone calls and stuff, but I'd have to kind of see what the evidence is because I don't like to judge these things. It's like, that's just a witch hunt. I like to see the evidence and see what they put forward. If they put something that's legitimate, I'll say, okay, well, this looks good. If they put something that's doodle, I'll say it's doodle. In the New York case, I think if his name wasn't Trump, it would be a whole different story. The Fulton County Clerk's office could not immediately be reached for comment on the docket report. Representatives for the county and Trump also could not be immediately reached for comment. The 2-page document cites violation of Georgia's RICO Act, solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, but these have all been reported in the news, so these are nothing shocking here. Conspiracy to commit false statements in writing, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, among other charges. All right, so let's look at the document. Let's look at the document for ourselves instead of them telling us. So here is the document that they uploaded and then removed immediately. So top of it, so this is 8/14 at 12:39 p.m. Details, court. They even have a judicial officer here. All right, boom, boom, boom. Date filed. Defendant, Donald John Trump. Birthdays X'd out, white male. Charges, Donald Trump. So first charge, violation of Georgia's RICO statute. Serious felony. And they said he committed this felony on 11/4/2020. Now this, 11/4/2020. That's an interesting one because I'm not sure. I think he was still president at this time, right? Oh, I think all these charges, they're saying he was still president at this time. This is interesting. So they're saying that he committed a RICO violation while he was still president in November 4th. Now, just for those of you who don't know, I forgot to explain RICO. RICO is organized crime. So generally, you remember how back in the day, they couldn't get like the top mob boss because the top mob boss would order other people to do it, but then that would be like, this would be hearsay, right? He told me to do it, that type of stuff. So it'd be hard to actually get the top guy. So they invented RICO. Now, RICO was like, okay, if you're part of a criminal organization, then everybody who's associated with the organization could go down for the crimes, because the crimes were in furtherance of the criminal entity or the criminal organization. Now, the criminal organization didn't have to be real. Like, it didn't have to be like, something that was incorporated or something like that. It was just, a group of people who agreed to work together for a common goal, and that common goal happened to be an illegal, something legal, murder, for instance, racketeering, anything like that. So that's how generally they got the mob and the big people in the mob, because then you only need one more person to flip, say, hey, we're all part of its organization, and this is what we were doing for this organization, and that's where you kind of get your RICO at. Solicitation of violation of oath by public officer. So in other words, I think that's what the phone call with Raffensperger, like, yo, I want you to find me the votes or whatever. Conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer. I think that's about the fake electors. That sounds like fake elector stuff. Conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. That's maybe having the fake electors sign the document saying that what's it called? What am I talking about? That their votes are going to go to Trump. Because remember, the electors have to sign that, hey, these votes are going to a certain person. So I'm assuming they had something to say, hey, our Georgia electors are going to vote for Trump. And that's probably why you have that charge. Again, I don't know. This is because, again, they said this is inaccurate. So who knows? This could all be, they may not even charge it for all I know. I'm just reading the document and giving you my thoughts on it. Conspiracy to commit false statements in writing. That could be, again, and that's one thing about criminal charges sometimes. You can have one act, but it can lead to multiple different charges. Like, for instance, you can have a bank robbery, but also with the bank robbery, then you can have a gun charge. You can have, just because you did that one thing, it can lead to a lot of charges that kind of seem similar. Like, even also with a bank robbery, a lesser included offense could be just the robbery itself. One interesting part about this is that some states forbid this with what's called the merger rule. For instance, like in Georgia doesn't have a merger rule. But one of the best examples is Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin was charged with assault and murder. Now, generally what the merger rule does is say, every single murder is an assault. Think about it. Every murder is an assault. Somebody has to touch you or assault you to murder you. So the law generally says is that you can't charge somebody with murder and assault because you're essentially charged for the same thing twice. But in states like Minnesota and Georgia, they allow you to charge someone with an assault, and if the person dies, with the murder. So you can be charged with both at the same time. They don't agree with the merger rule. So here it looks like they may be doing some of that too. We're charging them with both the underlying crime and then the crime, the higher offense. In this case, so we have here conspiracy to commit filing false documents. I can't read this now. Conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, conspiracy to commit false statements in writing, filing false documents, solicitation of violation of oaths by a public officer. So he's saying that he did that on January 1st, January 2nd, 2021. So there was 2 times allegedly that he was trying to get somebody to violate their oath. I think one of these has to be Raffensperger with a phone call, and the second one maybe somebody else. I don't know who this second person may be. False statements in writing. That's another one. Solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. It's another one. Remember, Biden got sworn in January 20th, 2021. So this is now September of that year, like 8 months later. So they got him with that too. And then false statements in writing, again, in September. So these are the dates that these things are allegedly happening. So I don't know. And you see here, it says 39. This charges, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the charges, and these are description of the charges. But usually we go 1, 2, 3. I'm thinking there are, like, for instance, this one is 1, but I'm thinking there's 4 counts of this. So they give them, it looks like they give them 4 counts. Then another 4 counts of this. Solicitation of public officer. So that's why you see these breaks. 2 counts of this, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. So altogether, it looks like they charge him with 39 different felonies. 39 different felonies. It's crazy. But, what do you think? Again, this is the fourth indictment. So I just don't know. I need to see the evidence. I need to see the paperwork before I pass any judgment on this. Just so we're clear, so everybody understands. My initial thing about any charges against Trump, and I think a lot of these other are, hey, anybody can be charged with anything. I need to see the evidence, documents, and all the stuff behind it to make any judgments about it. But presumptively, I am saying this means nothing to me until I see the evidence that's backing it up. Because again, you could charge anybody with anything. That doesn't mean something is here. So I know Democrats are going to be happy. Yeah, we see. But again, this is just a piece of paper. They're saying it's wrong and it's inaccurate. Okay, fine. So that's how this is. And I think people need to take it as that. These are inaccurate, false, whatever. So we'll take it for what it is. Let me know how you think in the comment section. Let me know if you think this is the one that Trump's going to get caught with. Let me know if you think this is just another part of the witch hunt conspiracy to stop him from, running for president. It's you got to say something. Is that this is crazy. This is crazy. And the guy being charged 4 times, 4 indictments. Part of me wants to hope that our government isn't like that. Part of me has that hope. But then you can't deny the timing of all these things, right? These things happened in 2 years ago. They're talking about 2020, 3 years ago. Why are we waiting till they announce they're running for president and then you bring all these charges? You could have brought these charges. Why couldn't you brought these charges last year? Or hell, you could have bought them in December or something of 2021. Like you had all these things. So the timing is the timing of this is weird. It really rubs me the wrong way. But with that said, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff, and let me know if you think this is just BS or if you think this is legitimate. My name is Ethan Lloyd, and I'll see you next time. Peace.